Jaden sat on the cold floor of his tiny apartment, staring at the flickering candle beside him. The power had been out for days. His phone was dead. His stomach ached from hunger. But he had gotten used to the feeling. The silence pressed against his ears, heavier than the loneliness that had settled into his life. 3 months ago, everything had been different. He had a steady job at a marketing firm. A girlfriend who said she loved him. Dreams of moving into a better apartment. Life had felt promising. But it all crumbled, faster than he could have imagined. The company downsized. Jaden was one of the first to go. He had walked out of the office that day, still hopeful. Telling himself he would find another job soon. But reality hit harder than he expected. He applied to dozens of jobs, sent out resumes every day. But no one responded. A few weeks later, his girlfriend, Mia, sat across from him, avoiding eye contact. "Jaden. I can't do this anymore. I need stability." Then, she left. Losing his job had made him invisible. Friends who used to call every week suddenly became too busy. His landlord didn't care about his struggles, he only wanted the rent. Soon, Jaden was behind on payments. His fridge was empty. His hope faded with every passing day. Now, sitting in the darkness, he watched the candle flame tremble. It was weak. Barely holding on. But it refused to go out. Something about that made Jaden sit up a little straighter. Life had knocked him down, but did that mean he had to stay down? He grabbed an old notebook from under his bed. Before everything fell apart, he used to love writing, stories, ideas, little observations about life. But when things got tough, he stopped. Now, he flipped to a blank page and wrote, "Step 1, find any job. Doesn't matter what it is. Just start somewhere. Step 2, write every day. Even if no one reads it. Step 3, help someone else. Even if I have nothing, I can still encourage someone." The next morning, he left his apartment with a new mindset. He walked into every shop, diner, and store, asking if they needed help. Most shook their heads. By noon, exhaustion and hunger clawed at him. But he kept going. Finally, a small diner on the corner offered him a dishwashing job. It was minimum wage, but it was something. That night, after work, he sat by the candlelight and wrote a short story about a man who lost everything. But kept going. He posted it online. No one liked or commented. But he told himself it didn't matter. He would keep writing. Days passed. His small job covered food and rent, just barely. Each night, after work, he wrote. Some stories were about his struggles. Others. About hope. Slowly, people started noticing his posts. One evening, he got a message from a stranger. "Your story saved my life. I was about to give up. But after reading what you wrote, I decided to hold on." Jaden read the message over and over, his hands shaking. His tiny flame had lit someone else's darkness. Encouraged, he kept writing. His posts gained traction. People related to his struggles, his honesty. He wasn't famous. But he mattered. Months passed, and things started changing. He got a better paying job at a bookstore, which allowed him more time to write. His audience grew. His inbox filled with messages from people thanking him for his words. Then, one day, an email. A small publishing company had read his stories. They wanted to compile them into a book, about resilience and hope. Jaden stared at the screen, his heart pounding. A few months later, he held his first published book in his hands. It wasn't a bestseller, yet. But it was real. His words, once written in the darkness of despair, were now bringing light to others. One evening, after a book signing event, he walked through the city and saw a man sitting on a bench, staring at the ground with empty eyes. Jaden recognized that look. It was the same hopelessness he had felt months ago. He walked over and sat beside the man. "You okay?" Jaden asked. The man hesitated, then shook his head. "Lost my job. Lost my home. I don't know what to do." Jaden reached into his bag and pulled out a copy of his book. He placed it in the man's hands. "I've been where you are," Jaden said. "This helped me. Maybe it can help you, too." The man looked at him, eyes filled with quiet desperation. And for the first time that night, a flicker of something else, hope. As Jaden walked away, he glanced up at the night sky. Darkness would always come. But so would the light. As long as you keep your lantern burning, no matter how small, you will always find your way.